Hello there, friends. Welcome back to Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. Thanks for stopping by. This is episode number 11. Something a little bit different in this episode. I do spend quite a bit of time browsing around on the Tabletop Sports forum. That's not the Delphi forum, although I do, visit that as well. I'm speaking of the Tabletop Sports forum that I believe is maintained by Downey Games. You're probably familiar with that, but if not, I'll put a link to that forum in the description for this video. But in the download section on that forum, there is all kinds of resources available for all kinds of games, particularly, things that are out of print or home-brewed rules for different games and teams for games and all kinds of resources. Well, along with all that stuff, there's also some publications that you can download, PDFs of old Tabletop Sports fanzines, and the Avalon Hill magazine for Tabletop Sports, which was called All-Star Replay. And here's a PDF of volume number 2, issue 3. Now, all of them are available on there. They're, I think it was a short-lived magazine, so I don't know, there might be 8, 10 issues, I'm not sure. But anyway, in this particular issue, there was a game or an article about a complete mini boxing game that you can play in just 4 minutes. And it is basically a quick play supplement for Avalon Hill's Sports Illustrated Title Bout. So I'm calling it Title Bout Mini. Actually, some of the people on the forum call it that as well. And I won't read this whole thing, but I will say that it was made to complement. It does say that you can play it by yourself, and you're going to see we're going to do that. But it said it was made to complement Title Bout in one of two main ways. And one was to be used to eliminate the lower echelon fighters in a large tournament so that all fighters might participate without a month being taken on each tournament, or to quickly build up a legitimate record for a fighter as he battles into contention for a title shot. So what they've done is that they've rated a bunch of heavyweight fighters in these specific ratings, and we'll look at one of the cards before we start the demo. And also, along with these ratings that come in the article from All-Star Replay, there is also a whole bunch of Title Bout fighter cards on the forum that you can download the PDFs for. And one of the users actually came up with a formula, or not necessarily a formula, but a method to take the ratings from the Title Bout cards and convert them into the ratings that you need to play this Title Bout minigame. So what I did was I took a bunch of these heavyweight ratings that were here. Not all of them. I used quite a few of those here. I also created some new ratings from Title Bout cards using the method that's available on the Tabletop Sports forum. And I made up 64 heavyweight fighters. And they come from various eras, and there's also a few fictional fighters, namely, or all of them are from the Rocky film franchise universe. I'm a big fan of that. So I threw those in there because someone had created Title Bout cards. Well, that's Hurricane Jackson. I thought it was Tommy Gunn. But someone had created Title Bout cards for the Rocky fighters, the ones in the various movies. Okay, so what we'll do, I'm going to run a demo on this Title Bout Mini. I randomly picked 2 fighters out, and we're going to take a look at James Jeffries, okay? Now, a lot of this information on there, you don't need to make these cards up. I just did that. You can play this game just utilizing the ratings that are in this article from All-Star Replay. But I just decided to make cards because that's me. So, of course, a nickname if he has it. I put a photograph on there of him. His birth date, what country he's from, and his win and loss, or his record. And all that stuff is sort of just window dressing, other than, of course, you want to know who the fighter is. The important stuff is down here. These ratings. This is what you use in the mini game. Okay, so the points are his base points per round, and they can be modified depending on what happens in the round. Power is, of course, his power. A is the best, and I don't know what letter it goes down to. Looks like power goes down to a J. So A is the best for power. And you can see Liddell here, he's a D. So he's not too far off. But, yeah, the closer to A, the better. Defense, Jeffries must have been a great defender because he's rated as a -4. If the defense result comes up in a die roll, you would subtract 4 points from the opponent, from the opponent's base value. So in this case, that would leave Liddell with 3 points for that round. Knockdown and knockout are his propensities to be knocked down and knocked out. Lower is better. So I don't know a lot about Jeffries' details. I've heard of him, but looks like he had a very short career. And although he's kind of powerful and can score a decent amount of points, he has a high propensity to be knocked down and knocked out. Okay, so this could be an interesting fight. Now, Liddell, on the other hand, doesn't score a lot of points, doesn't have a lot of power, is not a good defender, but doesn't get knocked down or knocked out a lot. So we'll see what happens in this fight. So the way it goes is, and I'll go through this because, just in case the fight ends in a knockout right away, that we don't see everything, I'll kind of run through what can happen in a round. So the first thing you have to do is you take the base point values of the two fighters, and we see that Jeffries is a 19 and Liddell is a 7. You take those two and you come up with the difference between them, which in this case is 12. You go to the TKO chart, the highest that goes is 10. Okay? So that's as far as we can go. And what you do is you come to the higher base numbered fighter, which is Jeffries in this case. He needs to be ahead by 30 points at the end of a round to score a TKO on Liddell. Liddell, being the lower based fighter, needs to score 70 points. So I'm going to write that up here just as a reminder. 30 and 70. So it's going to be very difficult for Liddell to score a TKO, although he might be able to knock Jeffries out. Okay? So that's the first thing you need to do. Then what we do is we roll die for each fighter, the higher rated fighter going first. And the dice results, we look at the master chart. We roll 2 d6s, and if the power comes up, that means we have to check to see if, like, let's say Jeffries rolls a snake eyes on the first roll. Okay? That would be a power check. So what we would do is we would take Jeffries' power number, go down to the power chart, and roll the 2d6 again and come over to the B column in Jeffries' case. If it's a K, he's knocked Liddell down. At that point, we would switch to Liddell's card to look at his, or he has to, I should say he has the potential to knock Liddell down. Because at that point, we have to go to Liddell's card and roll again under the F column in his case to see if he's knocked down. Okay? If he's knocked down, then we proceed on to the KO check to see if he was knocked out. If he's not knocked down, under a K, you would add 10 points to Jeffries' base point value for the round. And if it's one of these numbers, you would add that number to his base point value. So that's power. Die, sort of self-explanatory. You would, in this case, 4. Instead of scoring 19 points, Jeffries has a bad round and only scores 4. Column A, you would, which this result is column A, you would roll the die again and add this value to the base points for the fighter. Defense, you would take the opponent's defensive rating and add or subtract it to the base point value of the fighter who rolled. Power we talked about, no change is no change. You just go with the base point value. Defense we talked about, power. Column B would be the same as column A, except it's a negative value. And dice and power we talked about. Okay, so I think we're ready to get this underway. So Jeffries is the A fighter. He has the higher rating. He'll go first. All right, so here's his first roll. All right, so he rolls a 9. And a 9 is a power check right off the bat. He has a power check. So his power is a B, and we refer to the power chart under the B column. He rolls a 4. That's a K. That means he could potentially knock Scott Ledoux down. Okay? So Ledoux' knockdown rating is an F. So we check the F column, roll again. Oh boy, and he did knock him down. We rolled snake eyes. So he's knocked down. Okay? Now we have to check to see if he's knocked out. So let's see. Now we roll under the G column. And we roll a 7. And he's not knocked out. But because he was knocked down, Jeffries automatically gets 10 points added to his base value. So he's going to score 29. Whoops, wrong column. He's going to score 29 in the first round. He was knocked down, but not knocked out. Okay, so now we roll for Ledoux. Okay, so we roll for Ledoux, and he rolls a 5. The 5 is a defense, and this isn't good for him. So what we do is we come over to Jeffries' card. He's a -4 on defense. So Ledoux' starting point value is a 7, and he just lost 4. And he scored 3 for the round. Okay? So he's already down 26. He loses the first round. Jeffries wins the first round. And he is plus 26. And if you remember, he needs to be ahead by 30 points to score TKO. Okay, so now we go to round 2. Jeffries again. We roll a 5. The 5 is a defense check. So we put Jeffries' base point value of 19 in. We go over to Ledoux' defense, which is a +6. And, wrong column, +6. That gives him a 25. If Ledoux doesn't have a very good round here, this fight's going to be over. So let's see what happens. He rolls a 6. A 6 is a power check. Now, his power is a D. So we look at the D column here on the power chart. We roll a 4. And he has the potential to knock Jeffries down. Jeffries, his knockdown rating is an A. The only way he's not knocked down is if he rolls a 12. And he rolls a 6, so he's knocked down. Even though he scored all these points, Ledoux gets a punch in and knocks down Jeffries. Okay, well, I got to write his base value in here anyway. Now, we have to roll again to see if he's knocked out. He's going to be knocked out if he doesn't roll boxcars here. And he doesn't. So he's been knocked out. This fight is over. I know this was an extreme value. He scores 17 points. He gets 10 points for the knockdown. But it doesn't matter because Ledoux wins the fight by knockout KO in the second round. Some of the other fights that I've played have gone to 10 rounds. Actually, quite a few of them. This was just a very strange matchup with two guys who have some very conflicting stats. So anyhow, I hope you get the gist of how this game works. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to run this Survivor Series tournament, and I'm going to randomly pick a fighter, or pick 2 fighters. They fight. Whoever wins the fight continues on. The other one goes out. I'm going to put that guy back in the pile and reshuffle and repick 2 new fighters for the next one until we have 1 left. this is going to be a game I'm going to, come to every now and then. I probably won't show every, I know I'm not going to show every match on camera, but I'll give you updates as time goes by on where we stand. That's going to do it for this episode. Oh, but before I go, some things that I'm going to be working on in the very, very near future. I got to finish up the Time Travel Baseball Celluloid Series. We're up to Game 5. That'll probably be the next video. I want to, and I'm really itching to, get the Stratomatic Baseball Old Timers King of the Hill tournament underway. I have an introduction video that I want to do for that, like an official introduction of the tournament and the initial standings and the ground rules that I'm going to be using, and a lot of other things coming down the road when I have the time. Somebody had mentioned to me in the the YouTube comments that, you're going to be busy. Well, I guess you could say that, and yes, it's definitely, I'm kind of ambitious about all this, but I haven't set any deadlines for myself, and unfortunately, I'm still working. I haven't retired yet, so yeah, my time is kind of limited. There are blocks of time where I'm able to get videos out. Like right now, I've gotten quite a few out in the course of a week, but that's not always going to be the case. But anyhow, yeah, that's where we stand. I'll be back again with another one of these videos on Title Bout Mini every now and then. That's what I'll do there. It's not the main focus of this channel. But anyway, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate your patience if you stayed here till the end. If you're a subscriber, thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. If you are not a subscriber, I would ask that you please consider subscribing. And everyone, give the video a like. It helps the video get more exposure, and it helps the channel grow. That's going to do it for this episode. And until next time, take care.